So much for joining me. I am so glad to be here. You don't even know, like it's kind of a miracle that I'm here. Super glad to be here. And I'm here with some really amazing people. We have Lindsay and Katie. So say hello.
Hi.
Hello. And they're going to be a couple of our speakers at the Educator Summit. So we're very, very lucky to have them with us tonight. And I just kind of wanted to start. I'm trying to move my microphone out of the way, but I'm actually making it more in the way. I just kind of wanted to start. Oh, that's even more helpful. I just wanted to talk about, let you guys get to know them. You probably already know them. Katie has been part of the Educator Summit since year one. And so super glad to have Katie Mincy from Little. Now tell me your blog. Now, did you change it?
Yes. So I
Okay.
used to be Little Kinder Warriors, but I just rebranded recently and it's Katie Blue EDU.
Oh my
So
gosh. So cute. So
Blue
cute.
is my maiden name. So
And Lindsay, you guys probably know her from this amazing book. But do you also have a blog, Lindsay?
I do. I'm not like super active on my blog though,
Yeah.
but yeah, the
Oh, it
Learning
takes a lot of
Spark.
time. That
Yeah.
takes a lot of time. You've been busy with your book. So have you have an out. So anyhow, if you guys do not know Lindsay's book, Seven Mighty Moves, it's amazing. And I guess if you don't mind, Katie, do you mind if we start with her?
Of course.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yay. What I love about your book is that it's about bringing the science of reading into practice. So I love that, but it's so um, approachable for teachers, right? It's very easy to see ourselves in your words. And you love that book. Christina says she loves that book. I do too. So can you maybe talk about the origin story or origin? Tell me how it came to, how did it come to be?
How the book came to be.
Yes.
Yeah, well, and I have to back up because what happened has to do with my son, and I'll maybe share a little bit more about this in my presentation. So I'll just give a little quick version, but I always loved to teach reading, and then about 5, 6 years ago, my son was diagnosed with dyslexia. And prior to his diagnosis, I was really confused because I was doing all the things I had been taught to teach
Yeah.
reading, but nothing was working. And I was really kind of embarrassed because I'm like, I'm a teacher and I can't help my own son learn to read. And so I had to take this deep dive. Like, what do students with dyslexia need to learn to read? What does everyone need to learn to read? What happens in the brain when we learn to read? And I was just like the starved animal. I couldn't get enough. It was like, just kept learning. All my gym sessions turned into PD sessions because I was like watching a webinar or lecture or listening to a podcast or reading a book.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's really just what started my journey into
Right.
this, what we call the science of reading.
Right.
Um, and then about a year ago in May, so I had started blogging. So you asked about my blog. I had started blogging a little bit, just sharing the journey because I was so angry. And I'm like, why wasn't I taught this?
Yeah.
Yeah, which I know a lot of us, feel like that. And then I'm like feeling guilty, like, well, I did all these things, and you mean that wasn't the best way to teach reading? What?
Right.
So I was blogging about it. So it turns out that the people from Scholastic had read through my blog. So they reached out to me a year ago, May, to see if I was interested in writing a book. So yeah.
Right.
And it was May, you guys. May is crazy as a teacher. And so I'm like, what are they talking about? First of all, is this a scam? That this isn't real. It's not really Scholastic. I seriously thought.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it took me a few weeks to decide maybe it's real, and maybe now school is out and I have time to think about this. So yeah, they invited me to write a book proposal, which had to go through several levels of the company, like is either
Right.
yes or no. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
Well, I mean, I don't know if you did it in one summer, but it is absolutely wonderful. I can't recommend it enough. Um, and I find it really interesting that teachers all over continue to say the same story. I wasn't
mhm,
taught this. Um, I just assumed that 40% of the population wasn't going to be a proficient reader, right? And we thought that immersion in great literature was going to produce readers and writers, and it turns out that doesn't work. So, and then, you touched on something that I really made a connection with, was that sense of embarrassment and shame, because here I was, an instructional coach, going, and then also, training teachers all over about, the joys and, amazing things about guided reading. And yet I wasn't even on the same map as what I needed to be teaching, right? So it wasn't even remotely close. So yeah, all of those things are, I think, a lot of teachers have come to terms with, not everybody is, ready to let go of the Fontes and Pinnell approach, right?
Mhm.
But I love how gently your book guides people through it with enough research so that he's like, okay, yeah, I get why we need to do that. And really just the practical what to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because I am a teacher. So I am currently teaching. I plan to stay in the classroom because that's like my joy and my love. And I think that's really great because we have, which I love, hearing from the experts, but I
Right.
also really love, and the researchers, but I also really love hearing from the teachers who are doing the thing, like this is how it's working in my classroom.
Right.
So I love that. And what you were saying before, Dee Dee, about just coming to this, like sometimes it scares me. If my son hadn't been diagnosed with dyslexia, where would I be right now? Because
Right.
he's my third son. My first two learned to read so easily that
Problem.
that I just didn't really get it. And I didn't really get it until I had him, which is it. I hate that too, because I'm like, surely, I mean, I know I had
Yeah.
students struggling, but I didn't
It
really
just
make
takes
the
a click.
connection.
Oh, oh no, I lost Leanna. She was just here. I was
Oh,
gonna have her come in. Okay, let me send her a note real quick. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so hopefully she'll hop back in here. Yeah, and oftentimes we hear that we see people, students being a good reader, but then the spelling is the missing piece, right?
Yeah,
And so,
yeah,
those things just go hand in hand. Um,
yeah, for sure.
so tell everybody, give them an aerial view of what you're going to be talking about.
So, I'm giving you the 7. I'm gonna do an overview of those 7 moves. So, you saw my book with 7 Mighty Moves. I'm gonna give a quick overview of what the 7 moves are, and I'm gonna give you a takeaway for each one, like a way to apply it, something you could do in your classroom right away for each of the 7. So it'll be fun. And if you've heard me speak before, I chose different things to share for each of those
Okay.
7. So it'll be
Yeah.
fun.
And I'm just gonna say one more thing, and then Katie, I'm ready for you. So, but I was going to say, you were saying that you love hearing from the experts, you love hearing from the researchers, but having that classroom experience connects the two things, right? And
Mhm.
so, I was just sort of thinking, it's sort of like pharmaceutical companies creating medicine, but never actually trying it out to see if it works, right? So, I mean, that's sort of the thing. Like, what is the side effects? What are the things that are causing a hiccup here that we need to kind of smooth over those edges? So I love that. Miss
Yeah.
Katie, let's talk about you.
well, hi everybody. So, do you want to know, you want me to talk about my session or?
You can tell me anything. What'd you have for dinner? Tell me everything about Katie Mincy.
All right. Well, I taught kindergarten for 15 years in Southern Illinois, which is right across from St. Louis, Missouri. And I took a couple of years off, and this is my second year now teaching transitional kindergarten.
So you
Which
got little littles.
Yes, I absolutely love it. Um, it's uh, it's so amazing just to see their progress and their growth and
Yeah,
just what they can accomplish if you set those high expectations. Even though they're 4 years old, like it's amazing.
yeah,
So
it is.
I
It's
love
amazing.
it.
And your classroom looks like it's so much fun.
We have a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
we in transitional kindergarten, we hit kindergarten standards, but at like a much slower pace. So it's kind of like a kindergarten, kind of like a 2-year kindergarten program.
Right, right. So they're a little younger. they're not quite ready, but they
Right.
probably are more ready that going to preschool wouldn't actually be a good move for them.
Exactly.
Yes.
Or maybe they don't qualify for preschool, or, maybe they would just be at a daycare. And so this gives them the option of actually being in that structured school environment for a
Right.
year before they
Have fun.
hit the ground running in kindergarten. So,
So what are you going to talk about in your session?
so my session is about teaching handwriting. And woo! It starts with a lot of the research in neuroscience, and it talks about. I just talk about like the why. Why is it so important that we explicitly teach handwriting? And it is so important. And I know, like with the academic push down in kindergarten, it's something that we have so many standards to hit. A lot of times, handwriting is just kind of skimmed over. And it's so crucial that we slow down and take the time to explicitly teach handwriting, because how can we expect them to write sentences and paragraphs when they haven't been taught how to form the letters correctly,
Right.
so yeah.
Well, I love that. Our friend Holly is here. So yeah, I love Miss Holly. And I'm sure, Lindsay, in your research, you came across the research that supports handwriting fluency and writing fluency. And I was,
Absolutely. Yeah. And I agree with what you're saying, because I feel like sometimes we push and we're like, I remember when I taught kindergarten and they're like, oh, we need to write, 3 sentences by the end of the year. And I'm like,
Right.
how about understanding one good sentence, and
Right.
it seems like we get into the other grades and they're talking about paragraphs and passages. And I'm like, these guys can't even write a great sentence yet. And the handwriting piece is so crucial, because that's just going to help them be able to write more later. So,
Right.
yeah.
One of the things I thought was always kind of surprising was how long it takes to build handwriting fluency and automaticity. And so there was a time, Lindsay, I don't know if I told you, I was going to write a book on writing, the science of writing. And I thought, this is a great idea. And I had it all kind of worked out. And then I was like, I don't want to write a book. It was like way too hard for me. It was not, I'm like, this is not my lane. I'm getting out. But I did all the research, which was really fun. But I'm not writing a book about writing, but, just learning all of the ins and outs. So Katie, I'm loving that you're going to be sharing that. Because I was sort of like you. It's like, okay, this is how we write the letter.
Right.
And then we teach and catch instead of, really allowing that time for that to sink in.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's really cool. I think Leanna popped in, and then maybe she lost her internet. I'm not sure, but I was going to try to bring her in, but no, she's gone. So I don't know. Hopefully she's going to come back. So the Educator Summit, we have, oh my gosh, so many great presenters. In addition to you guys, we have a whole lineup of experts in their field. Some of them are on the research side, some of them are in the classroom, some are in both. So we're really excited about that. And if you haven't signed up yet, that price is going up on the 15th. So you'll want to make sure. I guess I should pop the link in here, right?
for sure.
I'm gonna go ahead and find that because I am really the epitome of prepared. No. I was telling everybody we're going on vacation starting tomorrow, and I've done this much packing. So yeah.
It's not just any vacation. She's going to Portugal.
I know. We're going to be gone for a bit. So yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out. I know I'll forget. Although I always forget something, usually something essential, like how did you forget that? Because we're live, I'm not going to tell everybody what I normally forget, but I'm going to tell you it's an undergarment. And so, yeah, I usually forget that. So, yeah, we'll see. I got to have that first. So, okay. So if we don't have any other questions, I'm just going to say, thank you guys for coming. We love seeing the faces of people who are going to be presenting, and we love seeing the people who are going to be attending. So thanks everybody for coming. And I'm going to try to do some Facebook Lives from Portugal. We're just going to see how that works. I had a little problem with Facebook, and I had a little, we've had an argument. And so we're working that through. We're going through counseling. So we're working that through. Hopefully, we don't need to get a divorce, but we'll just see. But I'm going to see how that works over there. Thank you. We're going to see how that works when I get over there. But if it does work, then I'll schedule some more Facebook Lives. Miss Hillary's driving back from her trip to Disney. I told her she needs to just actually work there because she loves going to Disney. So anyhow, thanks you guys so much for being here, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, everybody. Can you guys just stay on for a second?
Sure.
Yes.
All right.
Bye, guys.